Hey folks! Welcome back to the You Want Pizzazz channel. Today, you're going to be learning how to create this music waveform lower third animation in After Effects. I created this same animation for a music project I did a while ago, and I thought it was a really cool idea for any of you to use for your music projects. So why don't we dive right into it? Go ahead and open up After Effects. So we're going to start off by creating a new composition. We want it to be 1920 by 1080. And then it doesn't really matter what your frame rate is, just match the frame rate of the video that you're creating. And we're gonna keep the duration at about 10 seconds and we're gonna press OK. Now the first thing we're gonna do is add the text on screen. So go ahead and click this type tool up here and we're gonna click on screen and we're going to choose a name. Why don't we go with Sheryl Crow? And the font I'm going with today is Impact. It should be in your font library. And I'm just gonna go ahead and scale this up. I'm just gonna quickly change this color here. I'm gonna move this down. And then now I'm going to duplicate it by hitting Command C and Command V on my keyboard. And I'm gonna move this down. And then I'm going to grab the type tool and I'm going to change this. I'm going to highlight this text and we're going to change the color. And I'm going to scale it down and then position it back up here. So just fiddle around with the placement until you are happy with how that looks. So now what I want you to do is to open up your Google and we're going to search for YouTube library, audio library. So what we're going to do is actually find a music track. Now you're not going to be playing this music at all, but you need to find a music track in order for the waveform to react to it. So we're going to look for an upbeat song here. Okay, we're gonna go with this one. Whatever song you choose, make sure that it's very upbeat because you want the waveform to react to it very strongly. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. Just drag that into my project. Cool. So now I'm going to drag this music track on the top layer here. We can go ahead and mute it because we don't need to listen to it at all for this to work. And then we're going to create a solid. So I'm going to right click on the screen here. Select New, Solid, and I'm going to call it Waveform and press OK. Now we're going to go into Effects and Presets. We're going to search for Audio Spectrum. Go ahead and drag that effect onto the waveform layer. Now it should look something like this. If we want to connect the waveform to this music track, all we have to do is go up here and click the drop down menu here and select the song that you picked. So now, if we hit play, you can see that it reacts to the music track, which is what we want. We're going to change some of these settings to make it a little more lively, a little more fun. First off, let's play around with the start frequency. We want it at about 900-ish. Cool. And then the end frequency, make it around 1600, that's fine. Let's up the amount of frequency bands. And then we're going to change the maximum height to 1100, around there. Keep the audio duration the same. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Now, let's select a color. So I'm going to use this color picker tool to make it the same color as the text here. And that's going to be the same for the inside and the outside color. But the cool thing you can do is you can actually play around with the hue interpolation, which will kind of switch up the colors a bit. So I kind of like this rainbow look. So let's keep it at around 99 and hit play. And you see that it kind of gives you that rainbow look. If you want it to be less rainbowy, you can actually move it down a bit. and then it only kind of changes to a few different colors. So go ahead and play around with that and make sure you're happy with how that looks. But I'm gonna go with a rainbow because rainbows are cool. So you can go ahead and keep everything else the same. Now what we gotta do is arrange this audio spectrum a bit. So we're going to select the waveform layer, hit P on your keyboard to activate the position tool. We're gonna move it back, and we're gonna move it down to about here. Then we're gonna change this length so it's not so long. And we can do that by adjusting the endpoint up here in Effect Controls. So we're gonna just bring it in to about here. Let's see how it looks so far. That looks great. I'm gonna actually move this text back a bit. So I'm gonna hit P on my keyboard, select both of them and just move it back. And I like the way that looks. So make sure you are happy with this placement before we get to the animation stage. Now that we have approved this design, we are going to animate it a little bit. So the first thing I want you to do is take the name and you're gonna link it to the waveform. The reason we're doing that is that we're gonna animate the waveform and we want the title to animate with it. So now I'm gonna select the waveform. I'm gonna hit P on my keyboard to activate the position tool. I'm gonna go to about 1 second here and I'm going to hit this stopwatch here to make a keyframe. And I'm gonna go back to the beginning and hit that little diamond to make another keyframe, and then we're going to change the position so that it goes completely off screen and we cannot see it. So I'm going to go ahead and ease these keyframes. So I'm going to right click the keyframes, go to Keyframe Assistant, and we're going to go to Ease In. All right, nice. Now for the next step, we need to go up here into my rectangle tool. We're gonna select it, and then we're gonna drag a shape here. So click and drag, and hold the space bar to kind of move it around. And what you wanna do is you want it to be right underneath the Sheryl Crow title, and you want it to cover the bottom title here. Right here is fine. And we're gonna drag the shape layer right on top of the American Musician title. And then we're going to go into Track Matte, and we're gonna go to Alpha Matte Shape Layer 1. Perfect, we're looking good so far. Now we're gonna animate the American Musician, and we're gonna do that by selecting it and hitting P on our keyboard. We're gonna move the playhead over a bit, make a keyframe. We're gonna move it back to about 1 second, and we're going to move the position up. And because we alpha matted that shape layer, it'll be hidden behind the text here. And we're going to highlight these keyframes, right click, and give that an easy in as well. Now let's see how that looks so far. So if you want to open up all the keyframes, just select the layers and hit U on your keyboard. And we can play around with these if we want it to be a little faster. So maybe we drag these in. Yeah, I like that timing a little better. And that's pretty much it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you found it useful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the YouWantPizzazz channel for more videos. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!